Welcome back to Reuters Breaking Views. I'm Peter Thurlarson in Hong Kong, and I'm joined by John Foley in Beijing to discuss the latest explosive revelations in today's New York Times about the wealth accumulated by Prime Minister Wen Jiabao's family in recent years as part of China's boom. John, these revelations seem really quite explosive. Is that the way they'll be interpreted?
Well, it certainly is explosive, the suggestion that Wen's family has controlled $2.7 billion worth of financial assets. But, the takeaway is actually quite mundane, really. It's just confirming what we already knew, which is that in China, money and power come hand in hand, and that the elite are basically very, very rich indeed.
Yes, it's clearly not a surprise that the insiders in China and people around them have made a lot of money. We've heard a lot in the past about prince things, and actually Bo Xilai, obviously, who's been kicked out of the party today, is also accused of corruption. But I wonder, will this put foreign investors off? Will people look at this and say, actually, the system is rigged for the benefit of insiders? It's not a place that I really want to put my money.
Well, you might think this would make investors quite nervous, because this basically suggests that it's not just Bo Xilai who's been up to things he shouldn't have, that the problem runs much deeper. In fact, I think investors will probably not care very much. China still is the top destination in the world for FDI, even though people know that it has a very strong culture of insiders. And I think that's basically because investors have bet their fortunes on making that system work for them, on hiring the sons and daughters of wealthy politicians to do internships at their businesses, putting money into the companies of entrepreneurs and connected party members. This is the way China works, and this story about Wen doesn't really change any of that.
Yes, but on the other hand, it may work for individual investors, but in aggregate, it doesn't necessarily bode well for the way the economy works. We saw some numbers yesterday, which you wrote about, which showed that China's state-owned enterprises, for example, even though they increased their profits a lot over the past few years, their actual returns on the investment, the capital that they were using, are still very low.
Very low, absolutely. And there is no question that in the long term, this is very bad for the economy. An insider culture is a drain. It's a transfer of value. And there was a story out today saying that $3.8 trillion of, quote, dirty money has left China in recent years. That's the cost. But it takes longer for that to materialize. If you're an insider, you think you can make the system work for you. If you're an outsider, for example, an individual stock market investor, the outlook is not very good, which might explain why shares trading in Shanghai and Shenzhen look so cheap at the moment.
Well, and obviously the outsiders in this case also seem to include a large proportion of China's population who've just got a little extra reminder of how wealthy their leaders have become. So we'll have to see quite what the consequences of that are. John, thank you very much.